All right, guys, welcome to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society live talk show. I thank everybody for tuning in tonight and joining us. This is our episode number 37 of our talk show. I'd like to thank everybody out there for joining tonight and watching us, every Monday night on our talk show. Trying to get this thing to work tonight. But you can visit our website at crawfordcountyghosthunters.org and check that out. If you guys have not been on our website, definitely check out crawfordcountyghosthunters.org. We got a lot of stuff on our site as well, so check it out. You can email us at illinoishauntings@gmail.com if you guys think you have any type of paranormal activity going on, or you think your home, business, or any other location might be haunted or have the presence of paranormal activity, definitely send us an email at illinoishauntings@gmail.com. You're probably watching live out there on Facebook right now, which is facebook.com/Crawford County Ghost Hunters. We also dual stream to YouTube for any of you people that are big YouTube fans and just don't like the Facebook platform. Check us out on YouTube also at YouTube/Crawford County Ghost Hunters or at Crawford County Ghost Hunters on YouTube. We also have an Instagram page. Check it out at Instagram/Crawford County Ghost Hunters, or follow us on Instagram at Crawford County Ghost Hunters. Okay, guys, we've got a good show lined up for you tonight. We are going to talk about some top 10 ghosts and haunting misconceptions, basically, and myths in the paranormal world. So we're going to get into that here in a minute, but we got some announcements to make too on some of our upcoming investigations that we're going to be doing. So we're going to get that right out of the way here to start out with. And then we're going to get into tonight's topic of our top 10, misconceptions. And some of them, oh my gosh, I see it every time on our live feed. So some of them we're going to talk about kind of in detail and, kind of get rid of some of the misconceptions and myths people have about ghost hunting and paranormal research and some of the things we do. So hang in there, guys. It's going to be a good show. Trying to see your comments out there. Looks like we got a lot of people watching out there tonight. Thank you, guys. Paranormal Brew out of New Jersey checking in to say, hey, that's cool. Thanks for checking in there. That's pretty cool. Sharing on her page. Thanks for sharing that. We appreciate that. But guys, we're here tonight. We're going to make an announcement too on our upcoming investigation. We told you guys we were going to be back at the United Methodist Village. So guess what? We're going to tell you when we're going to be there. It is we do have an upcoming investigation, and that is going to be Friday the 14th. So this upcoming Friday, guys, check out our page. We're going to be going live at the United Methodist Village again for a second paranormal investigation of that place. If you guys didn't watch our first investigation, United Methodist Village, definitely go back and check that out. We kind of gave you a walk through the building, and that was partly, part of the stuff we were going to do there. We were going to, do a good walk through the building and show you guys, what it looks like now, because we had a lot of comments, a lot of people, saying, hey, I used to work there. So we kind of did that for you guys, gave you the 3-hour Gilligan tour of the United Methodist Village at night, and Ben actually dressed up like Gilligan. It was horrible. But I don't know where he found that hat at. But there will be no 3-hour Gilligan tour this time. It's going to be us investigating the whole time we're there. It's going to be straight to the point. We're going to be doing some serious investigating on the second investigation, United Methodist Village. Check that out Friday night, guys, on the 14th. I'm probably going live at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss that one. So definitely get on here, check our Facebook page, and we will definitely be investigating that more hardcore this time. We're going to be setting in the dark, split up into teams. It's going to be pretty cool. So we'll announce it on our page probably tomorrow or the next day. But you guys heard it first here in our live talk show. But Tonight's topic, we're going to talk about, the top 10 misconceptions in paranormal research and ghost hunting, the top 10 things or, kind of questions people have to. And we're going to start, they're kind of in order of things that aggravate me. Well, I mean, not really aggravate. Some of them aggravate me on what people think ghosts are, but some people just don't know and they have questions. So the top 10, misconceptions and stuff is that ghosts only come out at night. We're gonna start here out here at number 10. Yeah, people ask us why we ghost hunt at night. So, starting out at number 10, that's our topic. Ghosts only come out at night. People have asked that, emailed us, why do you guys only ghost hunt at night? Or why do you guys just, do nighttime investigations? And it's not that ghosts and spirits aren't present during the daylight hours, or, a lot of times locations are more active in the daylight hours than they are nighttime. So we investigate nighttime, because our infrared video camera systems, ghosts. If the theory is a ghost exists in a different spectrum of light that we can't see, the infrared spectrum of light, that's why we do nighttime investigations. Just because a lot of times our video camera systems, are infrared, and we want to, you know, a lot of these anomalies, if they're illuminated light anomalies that will show up through infrared, we want to be able to see those on our camera. And if we're bright blasting light in there, it won't show up. So, that's one of the reasons why we only go at night. But ghosts are definitely there in the daytime, and sometimes they're better. Some places are more active in daylight hours than they are nighttime hours, and we found that to be the case in a lot of places. It just makes common sense. People are more active in the daylight than they are the night, so the ghosts follow the same schedule in death as they do in life. So you get a place like Pylon Manor that we do get a lot of activity there at night, but it was morning hours where it started to become extremely active. And that's because they were probably getting up at that time. They were getting up early. People were waking them up, and they were active during those hours, and that's still the same schedule they're keeping in death, and it's kind of weird. So um, that's why we do that. Also, nighttime investigations are better because, and the reason, they don't just come out at night, but the reason we do nighttime investigations is because it's a lot more quiet at night. If you guys watched one of our investigations here recently, we were at that house in Johnsonville, and there was a farmer out in the field, and it was nighttime. And he was trying to get, the field work. I understand that. My family farms. I know the deal. It was going to rain the next day, so all we could hear in the background was this tractor, buzzing around the field, and we kept picking that up. Couldn't do any EVP sessions, but the later it gets in the evening, past midnight, people are going to bed. You lose a lot of your motorcycles revving up, your cars revving up in urban areas, tractors in the field in more rural areas. So nighttime seems to quiet the sounds down for EVP investigations too. It's not, they're just only out at night. It's just the reasons we go at night is because, there's less sounds, by man-made sounds. And, we just pick up a lot more activity and we can rule out more natural explanations that way. We know by the sounds going on, what's taking place. But we get that email question a lot, do ghosts only come out at night? So no, not only at night. Sometimes places are more active in the daylight hours. We're going to move on to number 9, though. And it says, what we got for number 9 is everybody thinks that just because a place looks creepy and abandoned, that it's haunted. And that's not necessarily the case. Does a place have to look creepy or old to be haunted by some type of ghost, spirit, or some type of paranormal phenomena going on inside this location? It's just that's a mind thing, guys, and a psychology thing. Everybody thinks, just because we look at these old buildings, we look at these old cemeteries, we're drawn to the oldest part of the cemetery every time we go out and investigate. And it's just a human mind thing. We've been taught since a young age, through all these even cartoons and movies and everything, that the old abandoned creepy house down the old long dirt road is the most haunted location on earth. And that's not necessarily the case. Just because a location, looks haunted doesn't mean that it is. Marcus, just read Marcus's comment. That's kind of an inside joke there. It says, They mostly come out at night. Mostly, that's off South Park, guys. That's one of our things we laugh about when we go out. Um, but yeah, it's the mental mindset of these locations being haunted, and like we find a lot of times that we run into a lot of haunted people, and I've explained this before on my talk shows, but people want a place to be haunted, and it's weird. Used to, they wanted stuff explained, they wanted explanations, they wanted things debunked. Nowadays, they want it to be haunted. They want their location to be haunted. That goes into the mindset of these locations and the way people look at buildings, houses, and all these locations, and it has to be haunted just because it's abandoned or creepy looking. We found that not to be the case. We found locations that are brand new. Maybe there's been 2 or 3 deaths in a house that was built 10 years ago, and the house is beautiful. It's clean, it's nice, it doesn't look like your typical haunted house. It can be just as haunted as these abandoned places like the Waverly Hills, or some place like Ashmore Estates. It's sitting there abandoned and it looks creepy. Just because it looks creepy doesn't mean that it's haunted, and that's a big misconception in paranormal research. You got to look for, you got to find history. History is what makes a place haunted. There's been a lot of deaths, there's been a lot of tragic events there, and it doesn't have to be the location or the building itself. It can even be the land. Maybe they built a house or put a brand new house on top of an Indian burial ground. It really happens, or on top of an old cemetery. It happens all the time. That poltergeist situation, like the movie. I don't know how many times we've investigated locations that were built on cemeteries. That they tore the stones down and put the house over it, which is really, really disrespectful, and it happens all the time. But that it could be connected to the land, not just the building. So you could have a brand new location built yesterday, put on a old burial ground. Boom, you've got a haunting. So, like I say, don't always go by the creepy old look. And it's a psychological thing, and it's crazy because I've watched some of our posts on our Facebook page, and if I post an older house we're going to go to, like the Johnsonville house, for instance, that we just investigated, here a while back down in Johnsonville, Illinois. Thing is your typical haunted house. It looks creepy, looks like a haunted house. We got a huge, huge response out of that. Just because I think it had that typical haunted house look. Not that we found a lot of activity, but people in their minds think, "Oh my God, that looks creepy." And I think that's what drew people in, and draws, the human mind to think that there's things in there that go bump in the night. We hear the floors creak, or the pipes rattle. There's different things that just activate the human mind into thinking that it's a ghost when it's not. But if a place looks old, creepy, and abandoned, it doesn't necessarily mean it's haunted. You got to have something that happened there, a tragic event. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. Number 8, ghosts are evil. I hear this all the time. People email us, I've got an evil spirit, demonically possessed. We're also tying that into this number 8. Demonic possession, evil, black shadow figures being evil. We've been doing this for a long, long time, guys, and I've been doing it for a long time. And I have never found any evidence of what I would call a non-human entity that is evil, like a demon or some type of demonic presence. I've investigated cases of possession, you name it. I've tried to investigate it. They called me into it, So I've had a lot of experience investigating possession cases where people are supposedly possessed. I take those cases. That's like one of my favorite things, because I go there not because they need a ghost hunter, but because a lot of times, I can explain to them they don't need a paranormal investigator. They need psychological help. Most of the time, what has happened is these people are mentally ill. If you watch, any of our demonic possession cases that we've had in the past, and I've explained this before, unfortunately, it was all related to mental illness, and they need a psychiatrist and a doctor, not a paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter. And I told the paranormal community this for a long time. If you go and investigate demonic possessions. You're actually doing that person, and not explain to them, that it's not caused by a ghost or spirit or anything, paranormal, that it's some type of mental illness, and you're actually doing that person an injustice if you go there and tell them that they are possessed by some type of unseen force. I mean, it can be dangerous. That person can end up committing suicide later on. There's a lot of stuff, that can happen when you go around telling somebody that they've got a ghost or demon inside their body. There's no proof of that. Most sodas, like I say, everything I've ever experienced and seen has been mental illness. And most of the cases that they label as demonic possession, especially the Catholic Church, and you get into a lot of religious stuff when you get into the possession cases and the demonic and evil spirits. And not to bash religion, but sometimes you have to take off your religious rose-colored glasses and throw them out the window when you're paranormal investigating. You can't go by, what the church teaches or what your church teaches, because I guarantee you it's not going to apply to some of this stuff. Some of the stuff that people label as evil is not evil. All churches, especially Catholic religion, the Catholic faith, everything's demonic, everything's evil. You've got to bless yourself and all this stuff. And you go on investigations, they call in priests. It's not going to do anything. Like I say, these people have a mental illness, and they need, some type of professional medical help. But that on the evil stuff, and a lot of the stuff that's black, people will see a shadow figure, that goes through a hallway, and since it's the color black, they assume, that anything like that is evil. That comes from a religious point of view. They've been taught all their lives that that's an evil caller. That's evil. It's not. We found that most of these shadow figures, most of the ghosts and spirits that we've encountered in our investigations over the past 25 years have been people without bodies. And that's how you look at it. They're not entities that are unhuman. These are humans. Now, can the human be evil? That's where we get into it. And Jennifer says not all religions or churches are like that. And I agree. I'm not labeling all religions and churches as labeling stuff as evil. I'm just saying there are those out there that have got the misconception out to the others, and people are following this concept, But not everything's evil, not everything's demonic. And I'm trying to read your comments as I go here. But yeah, if you guys have any comments on this, definitely throw your comments in there, and I'll read them. Even if you disagree with me, I don't, that's cool. I'm not going to argue. We'll talk about it. But yeah, but in all our research, we found these are people without bodies and not some type of non-human entity. But people, what I was getting at, can be evil themselves. You got a murderer. Let's say he's murdered 20 people in his lifetime. He dies. They put him to death, or he kills himself. Either way, people themselves are evil. So to say that, there couldn't be a human entity that's, more on the dark side, yeah, that could happen. But I'm talking about evil entities that are not human, demonic-like presences, where they're, supposedly not of this earth. They're an interdimensional being. We found absolutely no proof of that. But I believe there could be, like Linda says, you were at, I'll put that up there. That's pretty cool. This is exactly right. She hit it right on the nail, right on the head here. You'll post her comment. Says if you were an asshole when you were alive, then you'll be one in death. And that's exactly right. That could be the truth. We run into spirits like that maybe want to be mischief. Maybe they want to, knock things over. They want to throw things. They want to, get your attention. It doesn't necessarily mean some of them are evil, but again, if they did evil things, they could be on the more dark side in death. But as far as them being a non-human entity, that's what people believe in. They think there's all these demons running everywhere, possessing everybody, all these TV shows. And every episode of Ghost Adventures, Zach's fighting with these demonic forces by the end of the show, and everything's evil, and it's just ridiculous. But 90% of the time it is your loved ones trying to communicate, and that's what I've tried to teach the people. It's they're trying to get your attention. At Pylon they threw marbles at us, not to be mean. They're throwing marbles, they're throwing quarters, coins. I mean, that's like all good, positive stuff. There's the old saying, pennies from heaven. And I didn't believe in any of that until Pylon, and we got pennies thrown at us, we got marbles thrown at us. So, there's some things in this world you just can't explain. You know, where did those things come from? We still don't know. Um, we haven't had anything really happen in 2021, which disappoints me. The stuff getting thrown has stopped, but where did it come from? We're still amazed by that. It's still, to the day. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So, they can throw objects, they can manipulate objects, but a lot of times it's not to hurt you. Nothing ever hit us with force to hurt us. We had I counted over 88 objects thrown at us over a course of probably a 4-month period. We had 88 objects, guys, and a shooter marble hit the wall with such force that it put a dent in the wall there at Pylon Manor. And the dent is still there. We got the shooter marble. Nothing ever hit us like that, though. It was like it would go around us or between us. It would tap us so we would move, and then it would throw it, or it'd just gently drop it on us. So nothing ever tried hurting us. Nothing's ever tried hurting us at any location. All these people report scratches, bruises, bangs. Half of that is self-induced scratches and bangs, where they get scared and hurt themselves. They fall down, they run into something, don't realize they scratch their arm, look down, oh my God, I've got a scratch from some demonic presence. When they got scratched by their dog early in the day, didn't realize it. There's a lot of things that go on with people thinking ghosts are evil and demonic, and the color black be associated with evil when it's not. So I think Nikki said, do you take ghosts home, is what she's trying to ask there, I believe is her question. Yeah, we've had investigations where I've had knocks on the wall when I come home, and I've had weird things happen. Things will fly off the shelf. Yeah, I do believe that they have followed me home before, and that's why, if you guys watch my last talk show, I actually had a loud bang in here while I was doing the talk show. I still don't know what the heck that was. It was like something hit the wall hard. But I've had stuff follow me home all the time. That's why, both houses I lived in, were extremely haunted. And I think they follow me from place to place sometimes, but it seems like they only stay, 3 or 4 days, or, they don't stay long. Stuff happens and then it quits. It's like they have some type of time restraint to where they can't, stay there the whole time. Like, I go to so many places. I mean, I think I bring weird stuff back all the time, and I think they follow you to try to communicate. Communication is what I'm talking about. They try to communicate. They're not doing it to scare you. These people are trying to relay messages, either to help us, maybe even help the human race. So we do ITC sessions. They're giving us advice, or they're trying to get your attention because they're a loved one, or they want a loved one to know a message. Maybe that they love them, or they're sorry for something they done, or they buried money in the backyard and they want to tell you where their money's at, or not, or a picture maybe of you and them, and they keep giving you this constant reminder of something, and you go and you look, and finally you find this picture, and they pass over because that's what they wanted you to find. There's a lot of theories and reasons why ghosts hang around, but yeah, I think yeah, they do follow you home. Michael says, you were talking about infrared cameras. What's your opinion about night vision cameras? Oh, we use night vision all the time, Michael. It's extremely good. Hi, Kathy. Kathy Perry is tuning in there. But Michael, yeah, we use night vision, cameras all the time on our investigations, and I think they're extremely good because ghosts and spirits could exist within the infrared spectrum of light that our eyes can't see and pick up. So that's why we use the infrared cameras. Then there's thermal imaging, which is a little different. That's picking up heat, and registering it back to the camera, and the pixels show, different dots as colors and everything. So there's a difference between, our IR cameras we use and the thermal imaging cameras we use. IR cameras are basically for identification. You can see more detail through infrared cameras or IR cameras than you can thermal imaging. Thermal imaging we use more for detection. detection of paranormal anomalies or any type of unusual phenomena that can be picked up through thermal. And the difference between thermal is it doesn't have as good, like facial recognition, for example. If you've got a thermal imaging camera and you're filming out there a person, their face isn't going to be as clear and defined and details, and really you can tell they have blue eyes on that thermal imaging camera. On IR, you get a lot more facial recognition and facial detail. Sometimes you obviously can't see color a lot of times through the green, but you can see more detail of face with IR than you can thermal imaging. And that's why I like just plain old infrared versus thermal imaging, because we're looking for detail when we record some type of paranormal activity. If we have something walk through there on thermal imaging, we may not be able to identify that as a human or a ghost, where an infrared camera, somebody walks through there on just plain IR, which is the green, you see in our command center videos and stuff we show live. I can tell whether that's Jason Dickerson or Ed Reese or, one of my team members walking through the thermal imaging. You might not be able to tell that. But yeah, both is good. We use both. You just have to know how to use it. Popped up Karen's comment on there. I don't know how that happened. Isabella Weston says, if they have energy to give you intelligent answers, do you think that means they're dangerous or could hurt you? No, not necessarily. That's something we've tried to research, though, why some of them have more energy than others. Why are the spirits and ghosts of Pylon Manor able to throw marbles and pennies at us, or like these little plastic balls and dice? They threw all kinds of stuff at us, rocks. Like I say, over 88 objects thrown at us at Pylon Manor. How do they have the energy to do that too? But she says, have you, to give you intelligent answers. I think that the ones who give us intelligent answers, I don't know what separates them from the other ones that can't. It's really weird. What separates me from you when we die? That's the thing. Am I going to be able to communicate any better than someone else when they pass away? And like we've done a lot of research into that. She also says, you think that means they're dangerous or could hurt you by having that energy? And I don't think so. I think they use it to get your attention a lot of times. Like I say, I've heard of people getting pushed, shoved, and we've had a lot of reports of pushes and shoves in United Methodist Village, where we're going to be investigating again this Friday. But I don't know. A lot of times I think that's still to get your attention. But you could have that, like she said, earlier on in our broadcast, they're a butthole in life, they're a butthole in death. I'll be more politically correct here, but so Facebook doesn't kick me off. But that's the way it works, I think. And I think it's whether or not that ghost wants to, do that. But 9 times out of 10, they don't make contact with you like that. Even though Pylon Manor, I've got something tapping on my legs I could talk about the other night, which is really weird. Got a lot of people tuning in here and looking at your comments. But to get back to, I kind of answered your question there, Isabella, but I don't know. It's whether or not the ones with energy. We were trying to figure out why some of them can do that and some of them can't. That's our big question. Why do some of these ghosts seem like they can pull off more stuff than others? What separates one versus another? Was it their intelligent level of life? I don't think so. Are they next to a cell phone tower? Maybe the location's being haunted. Like Pylon Manor, there is a cell phone tower nearby. Are they pulling energy off of that? And that's the reason why, they can do something versus a house that's not near a cell phone tower. Maybe they're drawing energy from an outside solar spit. A lot of theories as to why that happens. But we're going to get into our next number 7 on our top 10 countdown of ghost hunting misconceptions and myths. And we're going to talk about ghost boxes for a minute. And, you guys probably see me use this online a lot on our live videos. And this is the Sangean ghost box that I modified myself and made. We use a lot of different ghost boxes for our ITC sessions. And ITC is instrumental trance communication. Basically what that is you're trying to communicate with a ghost or spirit or even multidimensional being, whatever it may B, even though I'm not sure those exist, we're trying to communicate with whatever it may be. And I'm very skeptical, especially these ghost boxes, even though I use them and I do ITC. ITC and EVP is like my specialty. I like to communicate. I like to get intelligent responses. I can explain photographs, which we're going to go into here in a minute, but I cannot explain intelligent responses that say my name and talk to me over a device that is not pre-recorded or programmed to say my name. And that's one thing I want to talk about involving ghost boxes. And I'm going to throw, well, we can talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about phone apps also, but it kind of ties, number 7 and 6 kind of ties in to ghost boxes and phone apps. Number 6 was apps, but the ghost box, it has intelligent communication sometimes. That's what you got to be careful with, because just because you get intelligent communication on a ghost box, and what that is, it's an AM FM digital radio that's been modified to scan through all those channels. So you're basically picking up all those channels. It's not stopping on the channels. It's continuously scanning through. So you're picking up AM or FM radio. Theory behind this is that they can ride in through those waves, or ride in through those frequencies, manipulate the sound of those, stations coming through, and talk, and or take a fragment from one station and a fragment from another station and put that together to make a sentence. But you've got to be extremely careful. It's like you see a lot of these people using this stuff online. It's just like it's audio pareidolia. What that is you think it's saying something, or you want it to be saying something so badly you're hearing that. And that's what we have to be careful with ghost box sessions and ITC sessions, using any type of ghost box for that matter, because it could be audio pareidolia, and it's very easy to fall victim to that. And you want to make sure it's intelligent responses. We make sure it's intelligent responses when we put something out or we say something. If somebody can be hearing it's just saying scanning through, and oh my God, they just said Betsy, and people grasp at straws. Betsy was the name of my grandma's goldfish. And all of a sudden you're communicating with your grandma's goldfish, and your grandma's there and her whole family, and people just misinterpret the messages given by ghost boxes and ITC sessions a lot of times. And they hear things a lot of times that's not there. You've got to make sure it's an intelligent response. Just like if you guys go back and watch our Ramsey Cemetery video, I asked a question, and on this goes into like the Solomon app, which is our number 6 on our list, and that is ghost apps and phone apps. You've got to be extremely careful with that. But in our Solomon app, if you go back and watch our session, I had an intelligent response that said, "Oh my gosh, it's Jason." Now, there was no misinterpreting that. It was not audio pareidolia. Everybody that heard it heard the same thing, and that's not pre-programmed to say that. That's the thing you got to be careful with ghost apps and phone apps and anything like even the obelisk. The things that are programmed to say words. Somebody has computer programmed that. A human has programmed that to say and spit out those words at a particular time. The theory is that the ghost and spirit can manipulate what words it wants to throw out, and manipulate that electronic device so it can communicate with you. That's the theory behind the obelisk. Even ghost boxes, Paratech, a lot of things that have the word generators, the word banks built into them. Can they? I don't know. That's the whole concept behind ITC and instrumental transcommunication, is people believe that ghosts and spirits can manipulate electronic devices and communicate to us. And it's been going on for years, guys. Even though the black and white TVs, or your old, TVs with the rabbit ears, you turn them to your white snow channels and leave it there. And people believe they were seeing faces in the fuzzy white snow, the digital, or the static, not digital, but the static coming through there. They thought they heard and seen voices in that. So, communication with ghosts and spirits through electronic devices has been going on for a long time, even clear back to, people when they did the first reel-to-reel recordings, and when they were using old cassette recorders. We used to use cassette recorders, pick up a lot of stuff on cassette recorders. People have heard ghosts and spirits communicate on their answering machines at home. They'll play back an answering machine on your old answering machines that use the magnetic tape, and they would have messages on there that were from somewhere else. It's been going on for a long time. Oh gosh, this is a funny comment because that's going to be one of my topics here, guys. He's talking about orbs, not to dish or anything, but and if you saw it with your eye, that's cool. We're gonna get into orbs there, boss. Thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, that's coming up here, definitely. But yeah, got to be real careful with phone apps like the Ghost Radar by Spud Pickle, I think it was. That thing's hokey. Don't use a lot of these phone apps, a lot of these ghost boxes that are apps. We use the Solomon app primarily for the frequency generator. Now, I do believe there's a lot of scientific research behind frequencies and frequencies generated from infrasound and different types of frequencies, resonate different with the human mind. And that's very interesting because some frequencies can cause fear in the human mind. They can actually cause vibrations of your eye and cause you to see things that aren't there. If you get into some infrasound frequencies and stuff, it's pretty crazy that some of the things frequencies can do. That's the reason why we use the Solomon app. It's basically for the frequencies. I think when we do that, what we're trying to do is open up a communication line to the other side. And through studying these different frequencies, it may be possible. It's like, dialing up the phone to the dead. And that's what we do with the Solomon app. A lot of times we hit it just right. We do it at 3 a.m. And we get some weird communication. That's what happened to us at Ramsey Cemetery or Casbar over in Effingham County when it said, "Oh my gosh, it's Jason." Somebody knew who I was, either from a previous investigation of that location. They remembered me and remembered me trying to communicate with them. Because a lot of times, if you guys listen, when I'm doing an ITC session or an EVP session, I will tell them my name. And if I ever go back to that location, I see if my name comes across. And a lot of times it does. They'll say my name. And so there's a lot of cool stuff, with the EVP and the ITC session, but you got to be extremely careful. Look out for these ghosts, these hokey ghost apps, these bogus, phone apps that are pre-programmed to say things by some guy, that just, and a lot of it's coincidence. Maybe you're in a church and it says preacher. That device has been programmed to say preacher. You want a lot of multiple replies to indicate that you might be communicating with something. Same with the ghost box. Just make sure it's intelligent responses and you're not making something out of it that it's not. Jennifer said, "Yeah, that's what happened to me when I had an answering machine. There was a message one time I couldn't explain." Jennifer Baker's telling me that's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of people reported that. People reported that for years. Even, and I'm not saying some of these phone apps can't be manipulated. I'm open and skeptical at the same time with a lot of this stuff. But our technology is advancing really fast, through iPhones, through tablets and computers and all this stuff. So the cool thing to watch through paranormal research and investigating is to see, can the ghosts and spirits that died in the late 1800s manipulate a cell phone? Can they do that? Do they know what it is, and can they manipulate it? Are the ghosts of an individual that passes away today, can they more easily manipulate our new electronic devices? That's just something we've got to research and keep watching, because whether somebody that lived back in the horse and buggy days can come through a cell phone or a word generator or a ghost box because they don't know what radio is. It's crazy. That's what we look at when we do these sessions. We're researching the paranormal. We're not just out there for a thrill. We're not just out there for the scare factor like a lot of these teams are. We're doing hardcore research into life after death, and whether the soul survives the body and if it can communicate with the living. And that's been our whole goal this whole time, is we are basically researching death, and whether our loved ones can communicate with us. But that goes into the ghost boxes. But again, just be careful with those guys and the phone apps out there. That was number 7 and 6. Number 5 I want to bring up is Ouija boards. Big misconception out there that Ouija boards, actually work and that they are evil. And oh my God, don't use a Ouija board. I've seen guys I actually had a guy on my team, which he's not on my team anymore. He was so freaked out because I got a room of Ouija boards. I collect Ouija boards, even though they don't work. It's a paranormal item, and it was a item used to communicate with the ghosts and spirits, supposedly. I collect anything paranormal related, and I've got a bunch of Ouija boards. But he walked in there, freaked out, um, and like people just associate Ouija boards with evil. I mean, he thought I was an evil dude after that, but I'm not. I don't think. but, yeah, the Ouija board is not evil. It is. It's a piece of cardboard a lot of times, or wood. Nowadays, it's cardboard. It used to be made out of wood, but there's nothing evil about these Ouija boards. And a lot of these movies, made these things, popularize these things into evil devices, and they open portals to hell, and demons come out and they kill you and all this stuff. Definitely not the case. Ouija boards are not evil, but they don't work either. They're not a good scientific method of communicating with a ghost or entity. It is now, it's your subconscious mind definitely pushing it. They've done experiments with this where they've blindfolded people. They don't go to the letters when you're blindfolded. If you've got your sight, then all of a sudden you get the letters coming through and you start spelling stuff out. But Ouija boards have been debunked over and over again. It is definitely your subconscious mind pushing that, not a ghost or spirit. But in my skeptical mind, I do leave the possibility open to the fact that can a ghost or spirit, manipulate your subconscious mind and push it to a certain letter. That would be more of a mediumship type ability. But I still leave it open to the possibility of, I'm skeptical, but yet open-minded. So, it could happen, I guess, but 90% of the time, it's bogus, guys. The Ouija boards aren't evil and they don't work. That's why we don't use them. We don't use them for investigations. We've done a lot of experiments with them. I mean, I've experimented all kinds of stuff with Ouija boards over the years. I mean, we've had a board downstairs, a board upstairs to see if it would get the same thing. We've done all types of Ouija board experiments with blindfolded people. And that's our conclusion that we've come to over the years of researching these boards. But we're going to talk about number 4, and it's probably going to make a lot of people mad out there. This just tends to just make other investigators mad when I talk about this, and when it makes other investigators mad, that makes me wonder about those investigators. But number 4, we're going to be talking about on our top 10 list of paranormal myths and misconceptions is psychics. Now, we're going to talk about the psychic subject. Shane Hall says, take one and see if you can burn it. I was told you can't burn them. We did burn them. Yeah, Shane, we tried all kinds of stuff with Ouija boards. We did burn them. They didn't come back. I've been given Ouija boards. Reading Shane's comment right now, guys. I'll throw that up there. But he was telling me to take a Ouija board and try burning it. But we've tried that. Nothing happened. Nothing came out of the board. Any evil spirits sizzled and came out when I did it. But and the Ouija board, was burnt. It never came back. So I don't know. That's been a big misconception too. I think that's a big movie thing. But some people claim they've tried to burn it and it wouldn't burn or it came back. I would have to see absolute proof of that. When the next date for Pylon, just curious, they're saying. Not sure yet on our next investigation at Pine Lawn, but I will keep you guys updated. I do have an experiment that I want to conduct at Pine Lawn coming up. The Methodist Village will be our next investigation this Friday night. Asking when our next investigation at Pine Lawn is. We will be investigating Pine Lawn, though, probably after that sometime, and we're going to do an experiment there, so it's going to be pretty cool. So definitely check that out. But going back to our top 10, we're on number 4 now, psychics. And it's not that I don't believe in psychics or paranormal investigations. It's just the fact that you cannot use them for evidence. I'm not saying that there's not some people that have abilities. I'm not saying that there aren't some people that don't communicate or get communication through dreams or visions or hear things that other people can't hear. But the groups are using them for evidence, and you can't. You cannot present evidence to the public that is bogus, basically. If you present evidence that's been given to you by a psychic, it is not legit. I mean, I can see anything. My grandpa and grandma are talking to me right now, telling you guys, this and that, that's just my word you're taking there. You can't. So we try to present evidence to the public everybody can see and hear through audio recordings, through documentation, through video, through photographs, just evidence, hard scientific proof of ghosts or spirits and that we survived death and survived the afterlife. So uh, you just can't rely on psychics for proof and evidence of paranormal occurrences. And you see those teams out there that are doing this, that are using psychics, that are using, these mediums and stuff on their team and presenting it as evidence. It's hokey, guys. I mean, do you want to call a psychic hotline right now for like $20 a minute and believe everything they're saying? I doubt it. It's the same equivalent. It's like these people, a lot of these people claim to be psychics and they're not. That's what you have out there in the psychic community too. You have a bunch of hoaxes, as we, kind of seen with one of our investigations last October, I believe it was, and we helped with the McPike Mansion event. Hate to bring that up again, but they were just hoaxing the heck out of people down in the cellar of McPike Mansion. That's why we won't go back. That's why we blew their cover. We told everybody about it, and I still take the stance. They were hoaxing. They were faking. Sharon, the owner, made stomps to make paranormal activity seem like it was real, and it wasn't. I mean, they were hoaxing everything there at this event, this public camp out at the McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois area. So, we won't go back there, but there was some psychic that called over the phone. You have these over the phone psychics that, start telling these people things like there's ghosts all around it. They named all these ghosts, all the McPike family. It's pretty clear and logical that this is a bunch of crap. It just doesn't work like that. So Shane Hall says it's sorcery. You don't know who they talk to. Yeah, I don't know. They talk to somebody. A lot of times it's voices in their own head, which is probably schizophrenia or something. But there's a lot of people that claim to be psychic that are not. And that's what you got to be extremely careful for. And that's why we do not use psychics on our team. We will not present psychic babble as evidence. You can't do it. Hey, Greg, thanks for joining. Got Greg Koss on here tonight. But I know I've went on and on about the psychic stuff before here on our show, but I just can't get it out enough. If you guys see a team using psychics and presenting it as evidence, that's not a scientific research team. That's a team that is, I don't know. They're just doing it for a thrill or something, because you can't do it. And it just kind of fires me up talking about it. But number 3 thing we're going to talk about, we're going to get into, is the flashlight method. Now, we've seen this happen at a lot of investigations. We've seen a lot of teams using this, and not to bring McPike Mansion up again, but we've seen this at the McPike Mansion also. What I'm referring to is they get mag lights like this one out, and what they do is they turn it on to the point of where it is actually short-circuiting. I mean, it's basically the light is being tricked to where it doesn't know, if it's on or off. And there it just went kind of off, and now it went back on. If I turn it this way, it goes off. But yeah, it'll come on and off randomly, if you trick this light into, short circuiting. And that's what it does. And they take these lights like that. Oh, there it came on again. You're supposed to ask yes or no questions like that. Is there anybody here? Anybody here tonight? Oh, there, somebody's here. Oh, they're gone. But that's the flashlight method, guys. It's a hoax. Oh, they're back again. You guys still here? Nope. But they take these mag lights and they do that. And I've seen teams do it. I've seen teams do it on TV. Tax originally started this. They're goofballs. This is not a scientific method. This is not real. This is just the mag light not knowing whether it's coming on or turning off. It's tricking the light, basically. You're putting it right at the edge to where it doesn't know whether it's turning on. Now, I want to see somebody do it with a light like this. This is like a tactical light with a pressure switch on the tail cap. Trying to get that into the camera there. Now, when you press that, light comes on. Press it, light goes off. Now, if you've got a flashlight like that with a pressure switch on the tail cap and you can get that to do that, you send me a video of that. So I'd like to see that. But all the hoaxing method has been done with lights that can be manipulated to where you can turn them off and on by just turning the head of the light, and that's called the flashlight method. It's a big hoax out there, guys. Say we were at McPike Mansion, we came up on a team that was out there, and they were doing this in the woods. Like, oh my God! And I walked over to them. I said, "You guys know that's a hoax, right? That method's been debunked over and over again." And they go, "What do you mean?" And I said, "The light is just short circuiting. Basically, it doesn't know whether it's on or off. And I couldn't get through to these guys. That's what it was. I mean, they will believe anything. They want to believe this stuff is real. They want to believe that ghosts, can manipulate and do that when it's just the light, turn it on and off." Linda says, but you're such a little. That's kind of funny. You're such a little shit, but I believe what you're saying. That's pretty funny. I just tell the truth. I just tell it the way it is, and I piss a lot of people off by telling the truth, and it's like, I'm not going to let people believe things that aren't real. People they hope so badly that they have a ghost, or they want so badly for their place to be haunted, or they want so badly to communicate with their loved ones. And I'll flat out tell you, I get pictures sent to me every day, guys. I'll talk about that here in a minute for number one. We'll get into pictures, so I'm going to hold off on that rant. Number two, we're going to talk about EMF meters and ghosts. Our number two on our top 10 biggest myths and misconceptions regarding paranormal research and ghost hunting, and we talk about EMF meters. And this is going to be a little while here, but this is your standard K2 meter. And again, you turn the switch on. The old ones, they call them dime meters because the old ones, the switch wouldn't stay down on them. You had to put a dime in there to keep it on. But again, these can be highly manipulated. EMF meters can be highly manipulated. And people believe that when they get a hit on this, it's going off because it's getting close to my camera. But people believe when they get a hit on this, that it's a ghost or spirit. And I can assure you, 99.9% of the time, it is not a ghost or spirit setting these EMF meters off. They do these question sessions with K2 meters. It's like, hey, are there any ghosts or spirits here? Oh my God, it's going off. Would you like to communicate with me? It's going off again, guys. There must be something here. And I got a radio right here setting that off. That's how the TV shows do it. They manipulate the K2 meter by keying up the radio, which is a electromagnetic source. You're putting out those waves, and the meter's picking it up. So these can be highly manipulated and faked in the field of paranormal research, especially on TV shows. But that's not even what I'm getting into. Basically here, even though they can be faked, and somebody can be sitting in the other room with a radio keying it up, making this thing go off. You cannot say an electromagnetic field hit is paranormal in origin. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm going to explain why we do carry them, though. You're probably asking yourself, well, why do you guys carry these around and use them? I'm going to get to that. But, these things cannot be an indicator of a ghost just because there are so many natural sources of electromagnetic fields. An electromagnetic field, you have to have a moving electric field. Creates an electromagnetic field. A magnetic field can create an electric field. An electric field can create a magnetic field. They're kind of one and the same, but they're different, defined differently. But to have an electromagnetic field, you have to have a moving electric field, not a stationary one, basically. But there's a lot of things that can create electromagnetic fields. Everything pretty much can, manipulate and set off these meters. And that's why these ghost hunters are just, you can't use these things and say that you're picking up a ghost. Any EMF meter, We use the high-tech meters. I mean, tri-fields are my favorite. We got tri-field naturals. I've got cases of these things I set up. And we're going to do a whole show for paranormal investigators on the proper way to use electromagnetic field meters on your investigations. Probably coming up on a talk show in the near future here. We're just going to do a show dedicated to EMF and electromagnetic field meters and how to use them to detect stuff in the environment, not necessarily ghosts, but to detect things going on in your environment. That could be, that you can rule out ghosts and spirit-like activity. But to say that your EMF meter that goes off as a ghost or spirit, again, getting back onto this, is just completely crazy. To have a paranormal electromagnetic field spike or fluctuation, you would have to be in a desert environment with no power lines, no incoming thunderstorms. The Earth itself has a lot of sources of electromagnetic energy: the sun, the ionosphere, the Earth itself. There's magnetic north. That's why your compass works. And magnetic north actually changes. You have magnetic north and true north. That's the principle of how a basic compass works. The Earth itself, thunderstorms, incoming thunderstorms or lightning. That's electrical activity in the atmosphere that can also set off tri-field meters. It can set off real sensitive EMF meters. These meters are sensitive enough to, detect incoming thunderstorms, and that, people don't even think about that a lot of times when they're investigating. Along with the, you've got a lot of stuff in nature that causes electromagnetic fields, even electric fields, and that's something that they're still studying. Science even, has discovered that plants give off their own electric field. They just recently did a study that one leaf of a certain plant, I believe it was creating 150 volts, which is enough to power 100 LED light bulbs. A plant, guys, out in the woods, it has an electric field that it's giving that off. So, if nature itself is creating this, hold on, I'm reading this comment here. It's kind of off topic. Shane Hall says, I have $1 million question. My dad always said he had a guardian angel. He listened to music with his, I'm trying to read, that's a long comment. He listened to music with his eye closed. I'm not sure what he means by that. Something pulling on his pajama pants, done it all the time. One night, it jerked the sleeve so hard his arm came out. So what is that deal? Don't know. Don't know what could have caused that. I mean, it could have been something, making contact and trying to communicate with him. I don't believe it would be anything evil. Like he said, it's a guardian angel. Could be some ghost or some family member that died trying to get his attention. But yeah, I mean, it could happen. But getting back into EMF meters, you got to say that an electromagnetic field is legitimate and paranormal. You got to eliminate all sources. And you've got sources that are nature-born, and you've got human-made sources, which are everywhere. The nature sources, you can kind of, if you get out in the woods, you still got the trees, which give off electrical fields, or plants. You've still got the Earth itself, thunderstorms, the sun, ionosphere, all that. So you get into house situations in urban environments, and it's even worse. You've got power lines, you've got refrigerators, you've got cameras, you've got radios, you've got everything that a paranormal investigator carries messes with an EMF meter. You've got to put your cell phones on airplane mode or turn them off altogether is the best option. You just get them off if you're going to even try to do EMF. The power has to be killed to the house. Then you got to make sure, are there any power lines near the house or by the house? If there is, you got to rule out EMF as being paranormal. You can't say EMF hits paranormal if there's power going to the location. You can't say it's EMF if, there's a camera nearby, if you're filming it, if you're going live, Facebook Live, and we get an EMF hit. I can't honestly tell you guys that's a paranormal electromagnetic field spike or fluctuation if we've got a live camera going and we get an EMF hit, because that's why I don't like to go live for some of these new places. We'll do about 4 hours live and then 4 hours not live, where we're doing serious investigations you guys don't see that part of. We're still in serious when we're alive, but we're extremely serious when we're not, because we've got everything killed. We've got all the power sources killed, and we're seeing if anything happens. Um, I have a rock that sets my K2 off, Linda says. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that actually is a thing, though. That's a natural phenomenon. Rocks can actually cause, magnetic disturbances. People have had compasses go off near certain rocks because they've got a deposit in there inside the rock that can cause a magnetic compass to spin. It's magnetic in nature. So it's like, even rocks can throw stuff off. Your vehicle, can throw them off. Your vehicle creates a field. There's a lot of stuff that can do that. So it's extremely hard to say anything coming off an EMF meter in our normal, man-made, human-made environment nowadays is a ghost. Now, do I think ghosts and spirits can set these off? Yes. No, don't get me. Stay with me here. I think that they can, because like our own bodies have an electrical field. Our heart, generates an electrical field, and there's electrocardiograms that they can do tests on. Yeah, our bodies generate electrical fields, and could a ghost or spirit, the theory about this is if someone passes away, does this electrical energy that our body has, does it stay? Can it remain? That's the question, or is it flipped off like a light switch and now there's no more, electrical activity in our body? Are we able to pick it up with these meters? That's the thing. I truly believe that, because Einstein basically said energy cannot be destroyed. It can take on different forms, it can become something else, but it can't be destroyed. So if we are energy, if we already have an electrical field, which we do, and it can be picked up with meters, which we do, we can pick up electrical fields of people's bodies, with some of these meters. And it's entirely possible, if that field, or if any energy or the soul, the force, whatever remains after we pass away, survives death, that we can measure it with these devices. And that's the whole theory behind electromagnetic field meters and using them for paranormal research, that we can actually detect this energy that has left the body after we passed away. In theory, that there is some sort of energy. The people don't believe in anything are going to say, well, there's no energy, it's gone, your heart is no longer beating, your brain is no longer creating the electrical activity in your heart, and all this stuff. So it's like there's an opposite theory too. Everybody thinks it's just gone when you pass away. I honestly believe you can detect it. I think energy can't be destroyed, and that it can be detected, but the problem is verifying that what you get on that EMF meter is the presence of a soul, and that's what we can't do. We can't tell you that honestly. We can't sit back and say that, my God, that red line goat over there is grandpa. You can't do it. Uh, it's just like, it's a lie to say that, because I've got a cell phone sitting right here. I've got this camera going. I've got my refrigerator, over there. I've got power lines outside. You cannot tell somebody that an EMF hit is a ghost or spirit. There's just so many things that cause electromagnetic field disturbances and fluctuations that you cannot label as a ghost. And you may ask, why do we do this then? Why do we carry this stuff? Our team, why do I carry this around on my life? And I'm not looking for ghosts and spirits with this. I'm looking for electromagnetic fields, which is what the meter is designed to detect. I'm not hunting ghosts at that point. I'm hunting environmental changes that can affect the human mind. And I do believe highly that electromagnetic sources can influence and affect the human mind, and even cause EMF-induced hallucinations, which can make people think that they see a ghost or spirit. And that's why we carry these, and we look around these buildings for EMF sources. Maybe they're lines in their wall, maybe their power line, the power is like leaking, and they've got their microwaves leaking. Even like you can get a lot of radiation leakage out of microwaves, refrigerators. The backsides of refrigerators are horrible. say we've had multiple cases where people have had a refrigerator against their wall, and on the other side of that wall is their bed. And they put their bed up against that wall. Well, the refrigerator was generating an extremely, extremely high electromagnetic field through the wall into these people's sleeping space or into their head. And they're basically putting their head in that and causing nightmares and health problems, EMF induced hallucinations where they think they're seeing ghosts and spirits at night, or they wake up and think there's a ghost at the end of their bed, or they're getting grabbed or pulled on. A lot of these cases, we told them to move their bed to a different wall, or arrange it to where it's not up against that refrigerator, and the activity stopped. And there's a lot of research being done into EMF fields and the way it affects the human brain. And I think there's a lot of lies going on out there as to, a lot of these things aren't dangerous and harmful to your health, because I've seen a lot of stuff in the paranormal research world where it has affected people. High EMF fields have affected people. And when they say, who knows what the cell phone up to your ear is doing? I never put my cell phone up to my ear. I always put it on speaker, keep it away. It's probably still giving me who knows what. But I'm not a big believer in EMF fields cannot cause harm to the human body and brain and our cells and everything, because I've seen a lot of my own research into this where people have been affected by extremely high electromagnetic fields. But we use them to find those, to see if they're causing an effect where people think they're seeing a ghost or spirit. That's why we use them. And another theory, we're also looking for high EMF fields in the house, maybe caused from a power line, like in the Johnsonville house incident here recently. High EMF readings inside the house, extremely high. And I go outside, and it was caused from a power line out front. Closer I got to that power line, more my EMF meter went out, but it was generating that field into the house. Could that be a source of energy for a ghost or spirit? Possibly. Could they manipulate and feed off of that stuff? That's where I come more of thinking, that it could cause paranormal activity if there's a high EMF field in the area. Not that the EMF field is a ghost. And that's your biggest misconception in paranormal research and ghost hunting, especially these TV shows, that when they get an EMF hit, that it's the ghost causing the EMF hit. The EMF may be causing the ghost. That's the biggest misconception. They think it's the ghost doing it, when they could be, the environment could be affected by these fields and making it a breeding ground for strange events and paranormal activity, whether it be induced by the human mind or a real event. So, that's why we carry EMF meters. And I want people out there to know that, because I bash these things, and I do bash them all the time, because, that's, people don't use them right. They didn't know anything about EMF fields, and they're not designed. None of this equipment was designed for ghost hunting. Like, some of it is, nowadays you have a ghost hunter store where they're modifying some of this equipment for ghost hunting, but most of this equipment, like tri-fields, that wasn't originally designed just for ghost hunting and paranormal research. I mean, this was designed to pick up, people use it for a lot of different things. But electricians use stuff, and even the non-contact laser thermometers, people have a big misconception of those also, and think that they detect temperature changes. I should have threw that in here. I didn't bring one out here with me, but should have threw that in with this EMF thing. But if you guys have ever seen a non-contact infrared laser thermometer, basically what they're using now to detect COVID. Some of them people are using those to put to temples and detect your temperature, which isn't a real good indicator if you're just using a straight out, mechanic version of that. But what it does is it sends out an infrared beam, and it hits a surface temperature. It hits the surface of an object, basically, and registers back into that device and tells the temperature. That's how the temperature comes across the screen. People have this big misconception in paranormal research that they can find a ghost or a cold spot with this. It's not going to happen. What you're measuring is the surface temperature. It's not ambient temperature. It's not the temperature between your thermal gun and the wall. It's the temperature of the wall. Unless the ghost is made into that cabinet, you're not going to detect a ghost or paranormal anomaly or a cold spot, which in physics is probably, the theory behind cold spots and paranormal activity is they're drawing energy from that area. They're drawing the heat energy away from that area, so that spot becomes cold. That's why we have cold spots in places that are reported to be paranormally active. But to detect a cold spot, you're not going to detect a cold spot with a thermal scanner between myself and a wall with that device, because it's measuring the wall, not between it, if that makes sense. It will go through whatever's between it, measure the wall, and bounce that back. And there are practical applications for them, though. You can use them to detect, maybe if a ghost or spirit in theory had mass, sticks its hand up on a wall and creates a cold spot on the wall, you can detect whether that spot's colder. Or if you shoot them into a bed to detect whether something's been laying in that bed. But again, in theory, whatever's laying there causing that depression and causing that heat to be transferred onto that bed would in theory have to have mass. And ghosts and spirits obviously don't have mass because we can't see them. And that's where we get into a big problem with a lot of this equipment, that some of this stuff has to have mass to detect some of these things. And it doesn't make a lot of sense, when we can't see these things. It's got to be in a ghost or spirit of a soul, or whatever you want to call it, has to be in a form that's almost undetectable. It's not anything we can see. It's not anything we can measure with some of this equipment. So it's beyond what we can do right now. But the non-contact infrared laser thermometer is a big pet peeve of mine. It can't be used to detect cold spots, and it's pretty much useless for paranormal research unless you're looking for surface object temperature change. If you're looking for the temperature change on that surface object, then that's okay. But other than that, don't use it. All right, and our top number one thing, it's already been mentioned on here that I just have to go into, is orbs. Oh my gosh, guys. I don't know how many times and we've already had it mentioned on our, in our comments here, some guy said he saw an orb. So orbs are ghosts. That's our number one pet peeve here, because people have been saying orbs are ghosts for a long, long time, and they are definitely not ghosts. You see all these videos, all these groups out there claiming that orbs are spirits of the dead, or you get these lights and these circles on your camera, and they're these light anomalies, and they're spirits of the dead, and they definitely are not. They're dust particles. When you flash that camera, the flash bounces off of the suspended dust particles in the atmosphere, registers it back to the camera as these little spots. A lot of times it's close to the camera lens is why it's causing these spots to appear on your film and video. And people just cannot grasp this concept that orbs are not ghosts. I mean, the only thing that's going to get rid of orbs, guys, now, ghost hunters should be carrying this. This is your first line of defense against orbs. It says clean it, yeah. Yeah, definitely first line of defense against orbs. If you're a ghost hunter, carry these with you. Linda's saying a true orb changes shape. Yeah, that's another myth, Linda. I'm sorry. I mean, I believe what you want, but orbs change shape because, like, people think bugs are orbs too. There's a lot of things that cause photographic anomalies, and I mean, I've analyzed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands. I don't even know how many photographs have been sent to me, and I've analyzed and looked over the years. I have done photography. I have went outside. I have kicked up dust. I have put things in front of the camera lens on purpose to see what it looks like, so I can look at these pictures and I can tell this person instantly, oh, that's a hair in front of your camera lens, or oh, that's a bug. And she is actually, Linda's talking about, it says a true orb changes shape. And she's probably, what she's referring to, sometimes you see these orbs that don't look circular. And what that is usually a bug. And your circular anomalies on film and video are bugs, dust, rain, pollen. Those are circular in nature. When you're taking photographs, they're not ghosts. The irregular objects that change shape a lot of times are bugs all the time. If you've got an irregular shaped object that's not a circle, it's probably got some type of wings, legs, making it look like that. It could be a moth, it could be a fly, it could be a gnat. It could be anything, any type of, insect like that could cause that. And another thing that causes orbs or spirits to look like they change shape, or orbs or spirits, gosh, I mean, sorry, not spirits, orbs or orb-like anomalies to look like they change shape is, tails behind them. And what causes that is wind currents. Anytime, or the shutter speed of your camera also causes that. So if you've got a camera with a shutter speed and you're not putting it on a tripod, and you just got it sitting there, and or you're holding it in your hand and you've got a slow shutter speed and you're taking that long exposure, you're going to have trailing objects. You always want to put your camera on a tripod. You always want to put it on there and mount it. Set it to a timer if you've got one. That's the best way to do it because you eliminate camera shake. So put it on a tripod, set the timer, step away, take the picture. You don't have any camera movement that can cause trailing. If you're using a slow shutter speed, you eliminate, camera movement, but you still have the possibility of sources like bugs and dust particles coming into that shot, causing your trailing anomalies or trailing like objects that look like comets flying through. It's all natural, though, guys. There aren't hardly any orbs that are paranormal. Now, I leave it open to light anomalies that create their own light. Now, that's strange. There's been ghost lights reported over the years, which could be a natural phenomena. But in order to see a light or a ball that they're referring to as an orb or a ghost, if it's not, if you don't see it with the naked eye, it's not creating its own light and flying around with intelligence, then it falls into the dust in whatever category. You have to literally see a green ball of light flying through the air. It's not a bug. It's not a dust. It's making intelligent decisions. It's going around tombstones, shooting, going between people or going in a doorway, upstairs. It has to illuminate itself. And to illuminate itself, you cannot have the IR camera on. You cannot have any type of light on. It has to be complete darkness in the room or the environment that you're investigating. Because if you've got a camera, obviously you've got the light on, it's reflecting back off the dust particles. It's probably dust particles or pollen bugs, whatever it may be. Bugs look like crazy flying things through infrared. Spider webs, those cause crazy anomalies through IR cameras. We have our IR cameras set up in Williamsburg Hill at Tower Hill, Illinois. We started getting what looked like lines in front of our camera while we were watching it that we couldn't explain. Went out there, couldn't find anything. And finally I went out there, looked one more time, shined my light in a different angle, and there was just a really thin spider web that was dangling across the camera lens, causing this effect. A lot of things in front of infrared look stranger than they are. Now, we did have some anomalies out at Williamsburg Hill that we couldn't explain. So I do leave it up to open to interpretation on strange anomalies. And these things look like bottle rockets in sequence flying through the air, which could have been natural, but I don't know. I couldn't explain that, but it was really strange. It wasn't your typical orb-looking anomalies. But in order to be something real, it's got to illuminate its own light in the dark. An IR camera gives off an invisible light that you can't see. Just because you can't see that IR light doesn't mean it's not there, and it doesn't mean it's not reflecting off those particles. That's what you got to be careful with. That IR light's going out there, it's invisible to the human eye. It's bouncing off these bugs, it's bouncing off these dust particles, still creating the same effect as if you're using a camera. You're getting light anomalies that are natural that people are mistaking for paranormal anomalies. And that's one of the biggest misconception, number one biggest misconception of myth and paranormal research is that orbs are ghosts, and they are not. They can all pretty much be explained. Like I said, only phenomena, orb-like phenomena, would be a lit up object with no IR light on your cameras, no light whatsoever. You're in a dark room and you see a green ball come out of a wall. That could be weird if you physically see it with your eyes, not through photographs, not through cameras. You see it. That could be strange. But then again, I've talked about this on previous shows as a phenomenon known as ball lightning that a lot of people mistake for paranormal activity, and it's a natural phenomenon that's even misunderstood by weathermen a lot of times. It's like it's a ball of light. People reported it shooting through their houses, in thunderstorms and going out the other side of the wall, like a big plasma ball, burning a hole in their wall or going into their TV even and blowing their TV up. There's been a lot of reports of ball lightning over the years. You got to be careful that what you see isn't a natural weather phenomenon. And there could be natural weather phenomena that we don't even know about yet. So to label something as a ghost, you have to have extreme evidence, guys. And that's my whole point behind this whole show tonight. If you're going to label things as a ghost, if you're going to like use this equipment, know your equipment, know that it's paranormal before you label it as a ghost, because there's so many people that say orbs are ghosts. It's just like crazy. Joyce said, sorry, I typed that up. You said it. Can it be seen by the naked eye? Yeah, I mean, the naked eye would be one of the best indicators, Joyce, of it being paranormal. If you see that, like I say, in a dark room and there's no light source, and you see that ball, red, green, something fly around intelligently, that could be strange. Whether it's a ghost, I don't know. Like I say, it could be some type of plasma ball, some weather phenomena that we just aren't aware of. Trying to read your comments here tonight. Linda says a triangle that changes into a long wisp of white. Did you get that, Linda, at some point or something? I would have to see what you're talking about there. And if you guys have any pictures out there that you think are paranormal, by all means, send them to me, and I'll tell you my opinion. I mean, like I said, I don't know everything about it, but if I think I can explain it, I'll explain it. If you guys have any strange pictures that you want to send to me, definitely do. We get several a week of people, sending us stuff. I actually got a picture just about 2 nights ago. A lady sent me a picture and she said, "Can you explain this?" It's a picture of her kid. And I wish I would have uploaded it so I could show you guys, but I don't have permission to use her picture, so I didn't. But it looks like a wispy white light, right in front of her kid, but it comes down off the frame of the picture, it comes down here this way. And it was just simply a hair dangled in front of the lens. A lot of females get that problem a lot of times. They'll take pictures and they'll hold it up close here and look through a viewfinder, or they'll hold it up close to their head and their hair is flying in the wind, or they have long hair, their hair dangles in front of that. They don't realize at the time the photograph is taken, and it looks like this light anomaly, going through the film or video. And females in particular, get that more than males, because obviously we have shorter hair and we don't have that problem a lot of times. But that can be another anomaly on film and video. Vortexes, those were a big thing back in the day. People would report capturing vortexes on film and video, and 99.9% of vortexes were caused by a camera strap. People would dangle the camera strap in front of the camera lens while they were taking the picture, and it would look like this checkered light anomaly, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's an indicator of a vortex." No, it's an indicator of a camera strap. So you just be careful, guys, especially when somebody tries to pull off a ghost photograph on you. There's apps out there nowadays too that put ghosts in the app. I mean, I actually go through and study images off the internet from ghost apps. I'll type in ghost app images, and a lot of times it's repeated ghosts that you see in these pictures. Like a lot of these apps use the same ghosts. It's like this little girl in a dress with creepy hair and black eyes. That's one of the famous ones you see in a lot of ghost photographs. I mean, I get so many ghost pictures sent to me where people have, photoshopped them and put stuff into the photographs. It's like, I've got programs also that can tell whether, the photograph has been manipulated too, that I put through. So you can get in the EXIF information, I think it's called. You look into there. I mean, you can get into a lot of the photographs data, see when it was taken, what type of camera it was taken with, all kinds of stuff, the shutter speed. Try to read comments. But Kathy said, "Yeah, I've done that with the strap." But yeah, that was a big thing back in the day, vortexes and camera straps. I'm trying to think of another other things that can show up in photographs that are mislabeled are, believe it or not, spider webs, like I talked about, and spiders themselves, eyes and glowworms. There are certain spiders, particularly in our area, when we're out in cemeteries and like woods or different areas like that. The reflection of the camera flash will reflect off of these spiders' eyes and cause a reflection, and look like a green anomaly out by a tombstone. We couldn't figure out what was doing this. So we went out there and we started digging through the grass, looking, trying to figure out what was causing this green reflection. And lo and behold, it was spiders. And their eyes were reflecting. And this is no joke. Like, just like animal eyes reflect at night, you shine headlights into a deer, you can see that. Same way with the spiders, some of them, their eyes reflect light. Glowworms, there are such things as glowworms, and they can actually glow out in the cemetery and create their own light, just like a firefly or lightning bug. So you got to be very careful of those as well. Randy says, very refreshing to hear such a grounded, credible presentation in a field that's typically full of BS. Well, thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. We try, like I say, we try to debunk everything and come up with natural explanations. It's like a lot of these groups will just lie to you to make themselves, seem more credible, to make themselves seem. I don't even know what their point is. We're really doing research into life after death and the psychology of the haunting-like phenomenon and how it affects the human mind and even the environmental changes of an area with reported paranormal activity. And a lot of these groups are just, it's a thrill factor for them, and everything's evil, everything's a ghost. And it's like we're trying to get the word out. I've been trying to do this for years. And I know, Randy, I think we had a conversation about, well, shoot, I hit the wrong button there, guys. Hope we're still on. We had a conversation, I think me and Randy did. We were talking about, Dave and Sharon Oester. I met with them several times, and they had a famous video in Gettysburg where lights were going through an area. And I looked at it and told Dave right off the bat, I said, that's car lights. I see that's car lights in the background. It's not, an unusual phenomenon or a ghost. And Dave kind of argued with me. I was a member back in the day of the International Ghost Hunter Society. I met with Dave and Sharon, many times. They came up here. They actually wrote a chapter in one of their books about me titled Jason Snyder Ghost Hunter. It's in a book called Restless Spirits Across America. There's a chapter in there with my name, and he wrote about it. But I had my arguments with Dave, because he was a big pusher, and he was unfortunately a big pusher of this orb phenomena. And I argued with him several times. I'm like, these are not spirits of the dead. It's basic photography can explain the millions of photographs that he had on his webpage. And no disrespect to Dave at all. Him and Sharon have passed away now. They were great people, but we had our arguments when it came to paranormal research. Even if I'm good friends with a person, I'm not going to agree and jump off a cliff just because everybody else is. If he's saying, oh my gosh, the sky's a different color, I'm not going to follow that person if I know what color it is. It's like he had so many people believe in this orb phenomena. And like I said, no disrespect to David Sharon at all. They were great people. Met up with them. Like I said, they passed away now, unfortunately. Both of them and their dog Boo Boo. They had a little dog that followed them around everywhere, and they called him Boo Boo. And they actually camped in this RV and went all across the United States a couple summers to different haunted locations. But gosh, unfortunately, they were a big deal in pushing the orbs or ghost thing. And like I always didn't like that. They're not ghosts, they're natural explanations, dust, rain, and all that, pollen. But yeah, guys, look for natural explanations. Your best tool out there is your mind. You can have all this high-tech equipment in the world. I don't even know how much money I've got in my equipment. I don't even want to think about it. But all that equipment in the world cannot replace common sense. Look at things, examine things, look at it from a crime scene point of view. These investigations are basically Some of them are almost like crime scenes. Like we investigated Willow's Weep over in Indiana, biggest hoax you'll ever find in the world. The doors have springs on it. They're spring loaded, and they reported the doors opening and closing. Well, yeah, they've got giant springs on them. The wood was reported popping and getting banged on from underneath. The floorboards stick, and when you walk in another part of the room, they pop up and bang. The blood on the chair we debunked. We actually did a blood test on the chair, and it revealed that it was not human blood, and it was supposed to be a chair that a guy committed suicide in. Now, there was a suicide in the house, don't get me wrong, that's true. But we believe the chair was staged and brought in as a prop after the fact, and they put some type of fake substance on the chair to look like blood, and we proved that we were right. We did a blood test on the chair, videoed the process from start to finish. We have the video, and the owner was pissed. He threatened us with everything from lawsuits to all kinds of stuff. Dave Spinks, the owner, did, because we debunked Willow's Weep. And I don't know. I don't know why people want to fake this stuff. Well, I know why he wants to fake it. He's getting money out of everybody that comes there. That's the thing you got to be careful with. These people charging to go to these places, and saying they're haunted and taking your money. And that's what was going on in this case too. And there was a family involved, is why we got involved too, that was saying it was a hoax. And we went in to try to help this family, or not really. We weren't really on their side or the owner's side. We were skeptical in the middle. We were going to prove whether it was haunted or not haunted, and it was just a complete hoax. And people got pissed over that. He got pissed over that. It's because we told the truth. Same way with McPike Mansion. We told the truth. She was hoaxing and faking things at McPike Mansion. We're going to tell people. You do things, we're going to tell. We're not going to lie to the public. So that's just the way we are. And, we've always taken a logical, truthful approach to paranormal research. We're not in this for fame and fortune. We're researching life after death. And we'll continue to do that. So, but we got a lot of comments here. I appreciate you guys watching tonight and hanging in there. I know it's kind of long and drawn out. I went off the subject on some of it, but I appreciate you guys. I hope you understand more of our approach to paranormal research after this too. We're going to continue to do future videos regarding investigation techniques, how to properly use an EMF meter, and what you're looking for instead of a ghost with the investigation techniques. Thanks, Linda. I appreciate that. That's why I like you so much. You tell it like it is. Joyce says the marbles and dice still have me. Me too. Joyce, my skeptical mind wants to say that those marbles and pennies and dice weren't real, but I seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes, and we recorded it. We documented it. That's that. If you guys want to know the truth, well, I'm talking about the truth. I was kind of burnt out on paranormal research and investigating when we went into the Pine Lawn Manor investigation. And there's been times I've thought about hanging it up and not investigating anymore. And because it's I'm so skeptical and I want to prove that things are real, and we went into that Pine Lawn investigation, not expecting anything different than any other investigation, getting absolutely nothing like we usually do. And we got marble after, on night 3, we got marble, we got pennies thrown at us. And that just lit a fire under me, because I know now that there are things you cannot explain that go beyond our basic scientific understanding that we will never, explain. And Pine Lawn Manor showed that to me. It's that one gold mine of paranormal activity, that every paranormal investigator wants to find, and we found it. And we've seen so much stuff there that just is unexplainable, and that's what keeps me going. That's why you guys, when I go to a new place, even United Methodist Village, I'm like, can you guys throw some marbles or pennies at us, the guys at Pine Lawn did? I want to know why that place is so special, why those entities, whatever it may be, whether it's a phenomena, some type of It could even be a psychic phenomena taking place in there. Maybe it was a combination of a bunch of people together mentally projecting these objects. I don't know. I'm not saying it was even a ghost or spirit, but something was throwing and manipulating marbles, coins, and objects. And it can either go that way or it can be an actual ghost or spirit doing it with intelligence, a poltergeist, even. Poltergeist is, pretty much could be the case in that situation. It could be a strong poltergeist because it escalated and then it de-escalated. And a lot of times the poltergeist scenario will burn itself out, and that's what that did. There's a lot of noise, a lot of banging, a lot of objects being thrown, and then nothing. So it could have been a poltergeist situation, which is extremely rare. But Patty says, Patty Baldwin, have you investigated Ashmore Estates? Yes, we have investigated Ashmore Estates. I've investigated several times and haven't found a whole lot there. Again, a lot of hype involving the Ashmore Estates. Not saying it's not haunted, but a lot of hype, at Ashmore Estates. Another thing I didn't like about the Ashmore Estates, and I'm not saying they're faking anything at all. Nothing, I'm not saying that. Ashmore Estates had speakers ran all throughout the building in a room they wouldn't let us in, a control room. And I didn't like that. When you got speakers ran all over the building and people hear things in there, I questioned what's coming over the speakers. There was also a Wi-Fi signal detectable inside the Ashmore Estates that the owner told me was not there. And we picked up Wi-Fi signal and detected Wi-Fi in there. And I messaged the owner and I said, why is there a Wi-Fi signal going here if you told me there wasn't? Oh, there's none in there. There can't be. There was. There was Wi-Fi. There was internet. When we were finding signal in there, and we found speakers all throughout the building. That's why I didn't like it. That's a red flag to me. You got a place you claim's haunted. Don't put speakers and stuff all throughout your building. These places are trying to make it more paranormal friendly for the investigators coming in, but what they're doing is they're actually making it harder for us scientific researchers to prove that what's happening at their facilities is paranormal. Your basic weekend ghost hunter that pays them $200, well, it's actually $500, I think, to investigate the Ashmore Stage. You pay him $500 to go in there and investigate. You're just a weekend warrior ghost hunter. You're not going to worry about the speakers. You're just in there. Most of them are in there for a thrill or see something, and they're not worried about that. But it's like when you get a serious investigator in there and there's speakers and stuff, that ruins our investigation. We can't do any EVP. What if there's some type of low sound coming over those speakers? When there's Wi-Fi signal, it can also affect EMF and everything. It just like they're trying to make it more friendly for the people to go in there, like adding, internet and everything to these facilities so you can use it, but it's making it worse because that's just more stuff for us to filter out to figure out whether it's paranormal, if that makes sense. So, but I would not personally pay to go to Ashmore. No, I wouldn't, just not bashing it at all. Same way with Whispers Estate. We investigated Whispers Estate. I think that was in Mitchell, Indiana, if I'm correct. And backstory, complete hoax. We found evidence that there's no girl named Rachel there that died in a fire. The house was hit by lightning. I believe it was 1918 we came up with. It's been a while since I researched that, but it was actually a fire that killed a little girl in there. So a lot of these stories, these places they claim are haunted, are just backstories to make the place appear more haunted and scary. It's the Hollywood effect, and I hate the Hollywood effect. Same way the Willows Weep. They brought in objects to put all over this house to make it look scarier. They aren't original objects to the house. They are staged objects that they brought in. And that just, I don't know. I don't get it. But I'm rambling on here, guys. And we'll pass the top number one, the misconception myth of paranormal investigators and researchers and ghost hunting. So we're going to continue to do shows like this, educational shows, and get the word out about all the hokey stuff going on out there. So but yeah, thank you guys for watching tonight. Tiffany says, which one was the one you investigated that had the jail cells? We investigated several like that, Tiffany. I'll have to think about that. We've investigated several jails, several prisons. We investigated the old asylum up at, gosh, I can't even think of where that was at. It was up in Indiana, north of Bridgeton. That had jail cells in it also. I'll have to go back and look at that though. But oh, we did a Brushy Mountain too, Brushy Mountain Penitentiary. We heard some weird stuff, but yeah, I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Tiffany. But yeah, Joyce says one question I have is why do I find feathers in my house from time to time? You know, that could be the whole. I'm going to answer this one, then I got to go, guys. But that could be along the same. Whoops, hit Tiffany's question instead of hers. Here we go. One question I have is why do I find feathers? That could be along the same concept as the penny thing. You know, pennies. People believe like the whole penny from heaven thing, or a loved one can actually throw a penny, throw a marble or something to let you know they're there. Feathers could be a connection to you. Feathers could be a way a loved one is letting you know they're still there and showing you that they're still there. You know, it's the same way with any type of object that is being seen, transported, teleported, whatever you want to call it, into a environment. And if you clean the house, you clean your table, come back in a minute later, there's a feather laying in the middle of the table. Yeah, something's wrong. You know, that's definitely could be an indicator of a ghost or spirit trying to get your attention and let you know they're there. Nothing bad at all. I think it's just people without bodies trying to communicate and tell us that they are there. You know, if you're having something like that happen, but rule out all natural explanations first. Make sure you don't have a feather pillow. You know, that's leaking or something. You're getting feathers in the washing machine. But yeah, make sure your house is spotless and there's no feathers in there, and make sure you debunk everything first. And then if you're still finding them, yeah, that's cool. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I gotta go. We can go on all night. We're gonna have another show next Monday night. All right, here, same place, same time. And remember, Friday night, guys, we got our investigation of United Methodist Village in Lawrenceville, Illinois. We're going to be going live with that investigation. We're going to get down to business this time. Instead of doing a 3-hour tour of the building, we're going to go straight to investigating. It'll be at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This coming, I believe that's this Friday. Yeah, this Friday. So check out our page. And thanks, everybody. Have a good night. And I will see you guys on the next one.